You're watching ESPN's Tip-Off Marathon, presented by Constant Contact.
It only feels like a marathon. It's been a lengthy wait for the folks here in College Park, Maryland. Most of these were not born the last time Georgetown came to play a game on this campus. For the first time in 42 years, it's Georgetown at Maryland. They've only played 3 times in the last 3 decades. Mike Tirico along with Dan Dockich, they're neighbors, they're close by. There's a bit of a rivalry. Dan, for game 2 of the year, there's so much build-up for this game. It's shocking how fired up this area is for this matchup.
Mike, they're 11 miles apart. They don't play, and there's a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to get into whether it was ego, coaches, tickets. We've heard them all today, but all I can know is this. The buses on campus had big signs on them as they were transferring students. Go Terps, beat the Hoyas. So this is alive and fun, and this is going to be great.
This is a terrific Maryland team. Well, the ESPN preseason power poll said it's the #1 team in college basketball. The AP poll for the moment says it's the #3 team. They won their opening game over Mount St. Mary's comfortably. Meantime, Georgetown in the road blue lost their first game to Radford in double overtime, 82-80. And the students who are behind us, who are loud, and you'll hear most of the night, let the Georgetown players know about that as they came out. But Devontae Smith-Rivera, the best Hoya, changes what he didn't do in game 1. He gets some first half points.
Like, he didn't score in the first half, and as John Thompson III told us, man, he was disinterested and in a funk.
3-point shooter Jake Lehman missing for Maryland. Back the other way with O.J. Peak leading the pass to Isaac Copeland, and the sophomore makes it 5-0 Hoyas.
Mike, right now, there is so much more energy out of Georgetown than there was against Radford. Not even close. You can just see a crispness in all of their movements as they're going end to end and getting into stuff.
Speaking of not even close, Lehman, first 2 shots off the mark significantly. This is a young Georgetown team. That's Bradley Hayes, a senior who played very little last year. Baseline drive by Peak. Couldn't finish, but Hayes on the glass. It is 7-0 Georgetown to start.
Hey, you got to root for Hayes. Hayes scored 16 points all of last year. Scored 19 in the opener on 7 of 9 shooting.
The perfect start for Georgetown. Melo Trimble gets blocked by Peak. Back the other way come the Hoyas. Smith-Rivera loses it out of bounds. It will stay down here with John Thompson III's team. Already a dozen years as a head coach. Got to a Final Four. Big East championship in the regular season in 2013. 4 years at Princeton. And then after some other coaches in between, inheriting the program that his dad really put on the map, the Hall of Famer John Thompson. Good drive by Smith-Rivera. Turned away baseline by Lehman. And Peak missed that 3. Let's see if Maryland can run something good on the offense. Rashid Suleiman, the former Duke Blue Devil, passes, and a bad pass. Really poor offense early on here for Maryland. Copeland in the lane. 9-0. Let's see if he takes timeout.
No, he's not. He did this, against Mount St. Mary's. They cut it to 6 from a 17-point lead. Turgeon did call timeout, went to something inside. I love what Georgetown's doing, Mike. Everything's a drive. Whereas we've seen Maryland settle for jump shots, Georgetown has driven everything.
Georgetown bench wanted to travel. Good defense shutting off Trimble at the top. And Suleiman breaks the seal for the Terrapins.
Mike, I think that's the first time Maryland's made more than 2 passes in a possession.
Drive by Copeland. Been aggressive going to the basket. Hasn't converted around the rim. And a good strong rebound by Robert Carter, formerly of Georgia Tech. A few touches inside yet for Diamond Stone, one of the outstanding freshmen in the country. He's 33. Left of the lane, working on the right side. It's the 6'9" Carter from Georgia. Go to the free throw line. The game's first foul on Marcus Derrickson of the Hoyas. There's Mark Turgeon. This is a team that jumped into the Big Ten last year and took the conference by storm, finishing second to Wisconsin. Outstanding year. Strong road team last year. Unbeatable in conference play here at home. And Dan opened a lot of eyes and now has 2 stud recruits in Trimble, who's a sophomore and first-team All-Big Ten going into this year, and Diamond Stone, who I just talked about.
Well, last year they had a kid, Des Wells. Des Wells was a transfer from Xavier and a tough guy. They don't have that this year. One of the reasons they were good on the road, obviously at home, is they had real toughness, and Wells provided it. And that's the question, really the only question of Maryland this year.
It's a freshman. Derrickson on the drive, and Diamond Stone at 6'11" out of Milwaukee was there to deter the angle. It's gonna be a good matchup all night. Smith Rivera against Trimble. Stone from 16. 6 straight for Maryland.
My first play he made on offense as a collegiate player was a left-handed back cut pass. Second play he made was a left-handed post pass. The kid is really skilled. Now you see the jump shot.
Wayman on the takeaway. Trimble for the top. Rebound by LJ Peak, sophomore out of Gaffney, South Carolina.
That's a bad shot. You can get that shot anytime. They just need to keep moving the ball.
Peak aggressive inside. It's a couple of times the challenge by Stone. This time he's called for the foul. The first on Maryland. We get our first official timeout in College Park.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Constant Contact, helping small businesses and nonprofits become marketers. And Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance.
Mike Tirico, Dan Dockich back with you at the Xfinity Center on the campus of the University of Maryland. Early 9-0 start for Georgetown. Maryland comes back with 6. This is the guy who will get it done for the Terps this year. Sophomore Melo Trimble off the outstanding freshman season. First team all-conference in the Big Ten for this year.
Yeah, and you see second most points by a freshman. He's just a guy that can play. Like some guys are, okay, I'm a point guard. Some guys are, all right, I'm a shooter. Some guys can do everything, and that kid right there can do everything. He can sit down and guard you too. He, Yogi Ferrell, I believe are the 2 best guards in the Big Ten. This kid has come into Maryland and turned a 17-15 team into a 14-4 Big Ten team and a 28-win team.
It's off the foul by Diamond Stone before the timeout. Free throws for LJ Peak, the sophomore from Gaffney, South Carolina. And what Trimble did last year, Dan, was he got to the free throw line. Third most in the country.
Yeah, they made the third most in the country. Most of the time he was leading the country. I think he fell off maybe a little bit at the end. And that's why I said last possession, bad shot by Trimble, because he had guys flying at him. His specialty is getting them up and getting going and getting fouled.
Trey Campbell has come in. He's a sophomore out of Washington, D.C., so he understands the adrenaline rush that has come for the fans around this area with this game here tonight.
I think it's a really good move what John Thompson did. He went to a press. He's gone to the press the whole time. And there's a lot of reasons you press. A lot of people are going to talk about the shot clock, but I don't think that's it.
Not inside misses.
To finish the thought, I think the press energized his own team instead of sitting back on defense. They've shown much more energy, and it's because of the press.
Devontae Smith Rivera missed the 3. Trimble on the take, got bumped, freedom of movement, and the foul is called as he gets nudged on the way through the paint. Well, NBA action tomorrow over on ESPN with New Orleans and Oklahoma City. Without Kevin Durant, Westbrook's numbers have been big, and we'll see how Derrick Rose does. He turned an ankle the other night. Terrific game for Eric Bledsoe and the Suns. So Countdown will get you going at 7:30. You'll have an NBA doubleheader on ESPN tomorrow night.
Isn't Derrick Rose playing with double vision right now? A little bit up?
Still.
Yeah.
Jalen Brantley has just come in, sophomore for Maryland. Maryland had a key injury, and we'll detail it more in a little bit. Deion Wiley, a torn meniscus. He was a very important backcourt member of Mark Turgeon's team. Without him, the rotation changes just a little bit. Suleiman at 2.
Yeah, good move against the zone. Carter came up after the ball was swung a few times, sent a little side ball screen. Middle and baseline against the Georgetown zone are going to be there.
Smith Rivera couldn't make the clean catch. Suleiman the other way. Lob to Carter. After 9 quick points, Georgetown is in a funk offensively. It's the guy who's got to get him out of there, Smith Rivera, but Maryland knows a lot of attention on him. Freshman Jesse Govan with the pass and a foul on the outside on DeMonte Dodd. On the hit on the top of the screen.
Coach Turgeon said, hey, Suleiman playing for Coach K. Coach K didn't win 1,000 by not knowing how to play. You see Suleiman on the defensive end, and he turns it into fantastic offense. I think Suleiman, you talked about Wiley, Mike, for Maryland. Suleiman is going to be called upon to play 3 positions, I think, as we go through the season. A little bit of small forward, certainly point guard, off guard being his natural position. He's going to have to play all 3.
Michael Tchaikovsky is checked in. 7'1" sophomore from Slovakia. Outside 3. Off the mark, and the fighting with Govan, the freshman, will be called for the fouls. He was battling with the taller Tchaikovsky, who looks good. We were here for probably one of his best moments last year. He played terrific defense in a mega game against Wisconsin.
I like everything about him. I mean, he's one of those guys that's going to keep developing. Tchaikovsky, they call him Checo. I don't blame him.
What, you don't blame him for calling him Checo?
No, you just call him Checo and you move on. But he's got long arms, good touch, moves his feet really well. Ended the game against Mount St. Mary's. They were switching him to guards, and he was moving, getting down. Got to get to the middle and overload aside, Mike, against his zone. You get a wide open shot on the baseline.
The patience that teams did show. Be interesting to watch against teams that play a good zone with the 5-second shorter shot clock. They've got nothing going on. The ticker's at 4. Tchaikovsky! Maybe a walk, but a beautiful feed from Suleiman. Maryland leads for the first time tonight. Govan, patient. Long arm, but Tchaikovsky takes it away.
Just going to Nickens.
Trimble, triple. Nickens just off the bench, got it, didn't get it. Dodd weak side board, couldn't secure it. That's a good tough play to pull it away by Reggie Cameron.
Yeah, this place was ready to explode. And Trimble found Nickens on the side. This place would have been up for grabs.
5 minutes, no field goals. Govan's being patient and trying to back Tchaikovsky down. It's not working very well. And he turned it over with the travel.
Checo's going to make the move. This is bad zone until it's good zone with a little screen, and then a couple of steps and a dunk, and then right here on the other end, that's tough to block. You've got to have good position, long arms. Checo has both.
You're just going to go Checo the whole time?
I think I am. He prefers it, Mike.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I read the notes. You were doing other stuff yesterday.
He prefers it. Taking the easy off-ramps early. Checo. No.
Hey, they didn't recruit him to be a passer.
That's a good point. Good point. It's the Maryland team. I know
Can I go back to something you said? 5 minutes without a basket. You know why? When they started this game, everybody that got the ball was shot faking and driving. Now everybody's holding the ball. You can't hold the ball. Look at it. He's holding the ball. Now there's their move. You got to take it at them. You can't go east to west. You got to go north and south, towards the bucket, towards the bucket, towards the bucket.
Reggie Cameron couldn't make a clean catch. The officials with the conversation, and they come up with the ball stays with Georgetown. Almost 6 minutes without a field goal for the Hoyas. At the timeout, Maryland honors the former #1 overall pick, Joe Smith, one of the great Terps. He was involved in the game at 26, as a matter of fact, the last time that the Hoyas and the Terps met in the Washington area. It was Dwayne Sipkins who drove and had the key layup late. Georgetown doesn't get the final shot off, and it was bedlam at the old Cap Center for the Maryland fans. Watch the reaction of longtime Maryland coach Gary Williams, among the many who are here tonight. He was all fired up. Maryland won 84-83. You see Smith, one of the many honored Maryland Terrapins. But Dan, we know all politics are local, so the rivalry in your backyard is the one that means the most to you. These teams never shared a conference. They shared a very fertile and passionate basketball area. And because of that, when they did bump up against each other and the rivalry stopped essentially, hurt some feelings. That's why there's so much excitement to see them playing again here this year.
Yeah, a lot of it went back to 1979. John Thompson swore violently at lefty Drizel on the sidelines. There was no coach's box then, and that kind of led to a bit of a downfall for this rivalry.
3 on the way. Nickens, no. Dodd going up to get it. This is a tall Maryland team. Their length is such a factor, and since Tchaikovsky's come in the game, he has played terrific.
He's affected both ends of the court, Mike, and they get it in here, he's going to get a bucket.
That's going to go the other way. They really got the arm extended. He may have nicked Copeland up by the neck area as he was extending his arm. Foul called on the Maryland big man. See Kansas Michigan State will come up over in Chicago. Game 2 of that Champions Classic on ESPN. And on ESPNU, action from a tournament in Puerto Rico coming up, including Temple in Minnesota to get it going on Thursday.
Well, Butler's in that mix, scored 144 against Citadel. And if it had gone 2 minutes longer, they'd have had 184.
Good read by Trimble. Who's that foul going to be on? It'll be on Smith Rivera. Trimble was also grabbing the arm of the man who couldn't get the pass to Georgetown. Georgetown has not been able to move the ball at all against Maryland after the 9-0 start.
Maryland has totally forgotten about the back. They're not worried about it. And Princeton offensive, JT3, you've got to worry about it. They don't. They're overplaying. They're getting passing lanes. A couple steals by Suleiman and then one there by Trimble, just by overplaying.
Trimble, strong, powerful take, and one. No basket. Gonna wave it off on the outside first. Foul on the floor.
I'm raising my hand and I'm requesting a 26th rule change. Can we put in the and one in college basketball? What? He wasn't doing anything else. Right there, the foul was called. What do you think he's doing?
Well, I think he gets fouled by 42 Hayes on the arm as he's shooting.
Right.
Full motion.
That should be a 4-point play. 2 free throws for being fouled twice.
Double foul.
I think that, put a 26 rule. Get Billis on this.
Jay's busy right now doing the game on ESPN, but we can tweet him.
Well, I like shots on that right baseline. They have not filled the middle and gone to the baseline yet, and it's going to be there.
Nickens and Trimble working at the guards, working around the Georgetown zone, and on the turnover, back the other way comes Devontae Smith Rivera.
Ball's got to go in the middle, Mike. The whole thing shrinks in the middle.
Here's Reggie Cameron, a 3 off the mark. Georgetown has never really been a good outside shooting team. They have some quality shooters. The question is, will they become a more offensive-minded group as this season goes on?
Second game of the year in this environment, and you saw how the game started for Georgetown by driving the ball. There's no need to take that shot. You can go get that shot.
They had 9 in the first about 3 minutes. They've had 2 since. Tchaikovsky going to work on Hayes, and he'll be called for the knee in the back on the 7-footer. Team foul number 6 on the Hoyas. Diamond Stone comes in. What can you tell the people about Diamond Stone? It's the first look for many at the big man.
Big time skill, big time want to. I mean, he's a guy that is not going back away from contact. He's going to go into people to score. He can use either hand. Really long arms and good basketball instincts. His dad named him Diamond because it's the hardest rock in the world.
Carter able to convert.
Man, I like him, Mike. 12 and a half at Georgia Tech 2 years ago. Sat out last year. Really skilled guy with a perfect basketball body.
Away from the ball, trying to clean that stuff up this year. The rule changes in college football with the cutters cut. Jake Lehman did not, and the Maryland senior is called for the foul. Team fouls at 6 for Georgetown, 4 for Maryland, halfway through this first half. And we welcome those of you on ESPN2 here to College Park, Maryland. It's Georgetown at Maryland in basketball, and that hasn't happened in 4 decades on this campus. 2 schools that are within a dozen miles of each other and rarely play. When they have played, it's been neutral site. It's a very passionate basketball area, excited about this. That 3 ties the game at 14 from Devontae Smith Rivera. Georgetown opened up 9-0. Then went the next 9 minutes, scoring only 8 minutes, scoring only 2 points. But that 3 ties the game at 14. Maryland's the number 3 team in the country. Georgetown picked 2nd in the Big East, lost to Radford in double overtime in week 1. on the opener for them. Mike Tirico, Dan Dockage with you. And Dan, we're watching Georgetown doing what they did earlier in the game as you rejoin us on ESPN2.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about early in the game. 9-0, you mentioned everything was a drive. Everything was north and south. At the rim, they stopped and went scoreless. Good move twice in a row.
Jake Layman, he's going to be such an important player for this Maryland team this year. Good shooter, but he's been way off on 2 of his 3 3-point attempts. Rashid Suleiman, the former Dookie, has gotten off to a good start today.
Yeah, Mike, he has. He started out with his jump shot. His impact has been as much on the defensive end. We're going to see him with a nice assist there, but he's gotten into passing lanes. He's provided energy. Best perimeter defender for Maryland, Suleiman.
Suleiman, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Smith Rivera able to save it for Georgetown. That 30-second shot clock. Now down to 10. Smith Rivera and Trimble will be a good matchup as we go through the rest of the night. Marcus Derrickson, a freshman, met by the length of Diamond Stone inside. Layman secures the rebound for the Terps. Their coach Mark Turgeon wanted the foul. Diamond Stone, top recruit for Maryland. Terrific freshman off the mark. Carter saved it, but he was on the baseline and turned it over. Dan, there are fans who are tuning in to see Maryland, and for a lot of it's the first time they're seeing Maryland this year. Give me a sense of why Mark Turgeon's team is so highly ranked and thought of in the country.
Great point guard. All right, let's start right there with Melo Trimble. Just absolutely great. Fantastic size and experience. And when you look at what they have up front, how many teams have 6'9" Layman shooter, a 7-footer in Stone, a 6'9" guy in Carter, who are all skilled, all can move their feet, and all really know how to play basketball. The only problem with Maryland, maybe a little bit of depth with the Wiley kid being injured.
This big injury they suffered in the preseason. Marcus Derrickson, a freshman for a young Georgetown team, off on the 3. This is Robert Carter Jr. ISO, turnaround.
Man,
and that's what he is.
Oh,
man. Yeah, he is, right?
There's Wiley, and you see him right there injured. But man, oh man, he went left shoulder, then he went right shoulder and popped back for a little fadeaway.
Smith Rivera's off, rebound Layman.
Layman has really done a great thing in this game. He has been way off with his shooting, but all it's done is make him more determined. He hasn't sulked, he's gotten determined.
Little baseline drop step from that highly recruited freshman out of Wisconsin. Diamond Stone will be on the line when we come back. Under 8 timeout, I'll leave it at 16.
Like I said, here's a man. Watch this little fake. Come back. A little Dirk Nowitzki for you here.
Well, Kentucky has just knocked off Duke over on ESPN as this tip-off marathon hits hour 29. You wonder, how many things can you do since all this basketball started yesterday? 29 hours. You could fly from Washington, D.C. to Sydney, Australia. We're just outside of the nation's capital here in College Park. An elite runner, not back-to-back, I'm sure, but could finish 13 New York City marathons. Took a little liberty with the time. You could drive from here in College Park to Salt Lake City during the marathon. I also pointed out to our production crew that you could download the Dan Dockage Radio Show podcast for almost 2 weeks and listen. They said that that would be harmful to the health of viewers. Don't suggest it.
No, we do suggest it. Are you kidding me? We're trying to educate America on this show.
The foul, when we went to break, was a big one on Georgetown. It was on their best player. Devontae Smith Rivera, the guard, has 2. So Diamond Stone at the line, knocks down a pair, and Maryland leads 18-16. They were down 9-0, 2.5 into this first half.
Yeah, it's going to be important for Diamond Stone. Diamond Stone is going to have to continue working out in the weight room during the course of the season. Like, he's got to make sure he eats right. He's not as big as I thought he was going to be, Mike, in the upper body. He's got a lot of room to grow.
Trimble on the take all the way to the basket. Hanging, got banged, no hoop. But the free throws will come after the foul on Isaac Oakland, sophomore for Georgetown. Speaking of the Hoyas, they will have another tough test against the Big Ten team. Wisconsin on Friday at Madison Square Garden, the 2K Classic. Then Duke and VCU, and obviously if Wisconsin and Duke win, it's a reprise of the national title game from last year. Georgetown will try to have something to say about that. So too will VCU. That's Friday here on ESPN2.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we got to give a little shout out to the SWAC, don't we? The SWAC, Alabama State goes into Virginia Tech and wins. What made me think of that was Western Illinois. I know Western's not in the SWAC, coached by Billy Wright, goes into Wisconsin, Mike, the Leathernecks, and beat Wisconsin. Like, Wisconsin should be able to win based on officiating in that play.
Smith Rivera in with the 2 fouls for Georgetown. Can't live long without him. They are within 2. Govan had trouble earlier with the taller defender, 7'1" Michael Tchaikovsky, but able to get the shot off there. It's part of a very good young team that John Thompson III has as they build the next generation of Hoyas.
Yeah, I think Govan's going to be a centerpiece of it. He can shoot the ball. He's a willing defender, and you saw his strength inside.
Fouls, Diamond Stone will come back to the line. You mentioned that Wisconsin-Western Illinois. That was on the opener of the college hoop season on Friday. Look at these upsets. Georgia, Arizona State, Illinois also out of the Big Ten. Belmont beating Marquette. We've heard from Belmont before. UCLA's loss, the Georgetown double overtime loss to Radford. And last night, number 6 Virginia getting knocked off just down the road in D.C. by George Washington.
I talked to Mike Lonergan last year at the end of the season. He thought he was going to be really good. That's a surprise, but not that big a surprise. Hey, Mike, can you... You know, our colleague Bill Walton had to be losing his mind as Monmouth College went across the country and beat his beloved Bruins.
Bill started out his season in China.
Yeah.
For that game. Mentioned Mike Lonergan, the coach of GW, authored that upset last night of the Cavaliers. Mike is a former Maryland assistant and one of the many with Terp ties here tonight. This is a big, big game locally. Greatly energized crowd from the start. Shot clock down to 3, and it'll be Derrickson for a 3 to knock it down and give the Hoyas a 2-point lead.
There's another one of your freshmen. Great body. Derrickson led the team in scoring when they went to Italy on a 10-day trip. Confident in an opposing building. It's pretty good, Mike.
Away from the ball. It's going to be a foul on Maryland as Trimble tried to clear himself some space. They're going to get, beg your pardon, Stone instead, setting the illegal screen, his second.
Well, the one guy that's putting pressure on the defense is Smith Rivera, and he drew it enough to find Derrickson, but give that young man credit. Just stepped right into it and drilled it. He's got a great body, Derrickson, too, man. He is a built kid.
See 33? His name's Morning. Trey Morning. Alonzo's son, sophomore, forward, didn't play much last year in the lineup for the Hoyas, one of the multi-generational family ties in this organization. Outside shot knocked down by L.J. Peak, and Georgetown gets the lead back up to 4. Georgetown took a real punch in the gut from Maryland, and they have withheld and hung in there. Robert Carter, he's too strong, too tough on the box. He's going to fit right into the Big Ten.
That's coaching. Look, Robert Carter made a great move, and that's what he does. But, man, Mark Turgeon ran a little action, set up Derrickson against Carter. Derrickson, no chance.
Derrickson again fires the 3. You talked about the success he had. This guy ran half marathon during the summer. I'd like to be one of those weekend warriors. You're running out there and then you get that kid scooting by in a half. Good luck. The half marathon got him in real good shape. That 3 way off by Nickens, and Devontae Smith Rivera with the rebound and the push. Got to be careful with 2 fouls. Peak. Terrific shooting here, Dan.
I was going to say, you better get a timeout, because this team is in a rhythm. Georgetown is absolutely in a great rhythm.
Hoyas lead by 7. Terrific bounce back, a 10-2 run.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Constant Contact, helping small businesses and nonprofits become marketers. And Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance.
Chris Cotter back in Bristol. Land Rover halftime report just moments away. Kentucky and Duke highlights the defending champs against the Wildcats, who just reloaded. And moments away from the new college football playoff rankings announced on ESPN. Mike, Dan, and myself all safe in the knowledge that our 3 alma maters nowhere near involved in that. Guys?
That's correct. That's absolutely right, Chris. And neither school involved in the game here tonight. This is basketball season in many places. That time of year, that great intersection on campuses where the fall sports are winding down. If the schools have a good season going, maybe their NCAA tournament or postseason, and the winter sports are underway. This is so fun to see, Dan, these schools playing each other. And they're going to play each other again next year. This is part of the Gavitt Games, named after the great Dave Gavitt, founder of the Big East, longtime commissioner, so involved in the success of the sport, the NCAA tournament as well. Loved the game. He always wanted to see the season start with a great set of games in that first full week. And the Big Ten and the Big East doing that. Trimble for three. A much-needed three-pointer for Maryland.
Another good move by Mark Turge. He went inside out, set the post up for Robert Carter, and they played out of it, and Trimble knocked it in from his favorite spot.
5 field goals in a row made by Georgetown after an 8-minute drought on this end. Why are they making them now?
Because they're more aggressive, Mike. They got the ball down the floor quicker, doing things like that. Shot faking, not just holding on to the ball. They went through that drought. They're just holding on to the ball. You can shot fake this Maryland team. You can drive this Maryland team.
I know that shot didn't go in, but did you like that one?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's great. The kid's hit two. He didn't. It would have been a bad shot had he taken it under pressure, but he took his time. Shot fake. Just happened to miss.
Suleiman turns the corner, finds Tchaikovsky flashing and flushing. I think he likes us. Because the best he played last year was when we were in the building for Maryland, Wisconsin, and the 7-1 sophomore doing it again. Not just what you see in stats, but his defense and presence, outstanding.
I think he's going to like a lot of people because I just think he's a good player. But let's give ourselves credit, no question.
Transition, triple, Trimble. Timeout, Georgetown.
Can't call it. John can't call it.
He called it before the ball went in. But it wasn't
a dead ball. That's the new rule.
That's right.
And really, he must not have wanted it that bad because nobody's motioned the players to get a timeout.
Yep. That change in the rules this year, trying to stop this 8-0 run in the last 90 seconds. And that three does it. Good thing he didn't call a timeout, Coach. Isaac Copeland knocks it down.
Georgetown players are saying, sit down, Coach. We got this. What's wrong with you?
That's the players' version of bad shot, good shot. Bad timeout, Coach. Hoyas by 2. Lehman, quarter 3. Well, he's such a good shooter. He's done nothing tonight. Missed all 4 of his field goal attempts, and all 4 have been threes.
Mike, but as a coach, telling you, he has played so hard. He has not hung his head. He's rebounded. He's ran the floor. He just isn't getting it. No luck shooting. That's fine. That'll come if he keeps doing what he's been doing.
From the top, that 3. Off the mark, taken by Morning. Trey Morning. The drive by Trimble. That is why he got to the line so often in his freshman year.
And what he does to get to the line, Mike, is he shifts the ball around. Like, he doesn't just go up and say, all right, block it. He'll move the ball in the air, full dead run, turn his body, shape, and then go. It's just a guy that knows how to play basketball better than anybody else on the floor.
Now it's a Georgetown timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. And Subway restaurants. Get to Subway for the chicken and bacon ranch melt. Subway. Eat fresh.
A look inside Old Cole Fieldhouse, which has hosted the national championship, the former home of Maryland basketball. Also hosted one of the most famous and transcendent college basketball national championship games, that Texas Western Kentucky title game, 1966. 5 black players, Texas Western, winning the title. No good by Trimble. 31-30, minute 40 to go here. Melo just 1 of 4 on his free throws thus far in this first half, Dan. A lot of fouls on the Hoyas.
Well, it's like every time you get in transition when you're Maryland, you're going to get a bucket or a foul or both.
Trey Campbell 5 to shoot.
Look where the ball is.
Deep. Smith Rivera, no. Tchaikovsky goes up to get the rebound.
Checo is all over the place. He guarded 4 different spots right there and then came back down and got the rebound in traffic. if you're Turgeon, you've got to get Lehman a bucket on the block if you can. He has a couple of different sets for that. Lehman just needs to see the ball go through the bucket. I think he'll take off a little bit.
Shot clock at 10. Trimble trying to turn the corner. He brushed Smith Rivera, and a turnover there. Smith Rivera has got to be careful with his 2 fouls. The best Hoya player. Didn't score in the first half of the loss to Radford. Turnaround hook in the lane by Bradley Hayes, who has given John Thompson III reason for hope that he'll get something out of that big man senior in his final year.
30 career points. 19 in the opener, looks really good. They're really nice job of getting 2 feet in the paint, establishing deep position.
3 knocked down by Suleiman.
He's player of the game so far, and I know Georgetown hanging in there with the highly rated Maryland Terrapins, but you take Suleiman, who's got 6 assists on top of buckets, you take him out, they don't have much.
Shot clock off. Derrickson will not count. Ruled it was late. As the half comes to an end, it was very close. Derrickson knocked down that 3. For the moment, we are tied at 33 here at the end of the half. That Derrickson stroke looks very solid, and he continues to not be shy. Let's see if he got it off. The Georgetown assistants felt he did. Ooh, it's going to be very close. It's going to be very close. Take one more look at it. That's going to need the fine-tooth comb check. Let's see, is it off his finger there? It is. Looks like it's still in his hand.
I think it's no good.
Yeah, they might be no good.
And that's the way it should be, because Turgeon was losing his mind over a travel.
Right.
And it was definitely a travel.
Come back to that one more time.
Yeah,
you see the ball still, you got it. Touching his fingers there, we do believe, as the red lights come on. Right there. So they'll probably say it's no basket and an even first half. A first half that started out 9-0 in favor of the Hoyas. Saw Maryland come back. And they do wave it off. And the first half comes to an end. 33 all at the break. A game of runs. Both ways. Capped off by 12-5 Maryland at the break. We send it to Chris Cotter now, back in our Bristol studio for the Land Rover halftime report. Chris.
Thank you, Mike. Dan, Land Rover halftime report. Chris Cotter here in our college basketball studios. We got a lot to get to today. Champions Classic halfway over right now. We've got the second half coming up at about 10:21 over on ESPN. Let's show you how the first game went down. It's Kentucky against the defending champs, Duke. What a great early season matchup. Grayson Allen, remember how he finished last year on a tear? Ice cold in this one, just 2 of 11 from the floor. But his buddy Emil Jefferson is there for the putback. That kept it close early. Kentucky got off on the break. Freshman, you're going to learn all these names. That's Isaiah Briscoe, finds Marcus Lee. That's a familiar name. How about Jamal Murray, the freshman from Canada? Look at that move. That kept Kentucky in the lead early second half. Tyler Eulis with the steal. He had a fantastic game. Ahead to Murray again. Kentucky up 7 at that point. Then Eulis led all Wildcats in scoring. Drives, great little up and under move in the paint. Gets it to go. Kentucky would go on to win 74-63. They pretty much held that margin for much of the second half. Eulis, I mentioned, 18 points, 6 assists, and 0 turnovers. He had a sensational game. The freshman, particularly Jamal Murray, 16 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He is a dynamic player. You're going to want to keep an eye on him. Just learning all these new players for all of these teams. Fantastic. By the way, I mentioned that's game 1. Game 2 of the Champions Classic over on ESPN. Going to tip at 10:21. Kansas and Michigan State. Tom Izzo, Bill Self. This is the 12th time they've faced each other. Izzo with a slim 6'5" advantage. So 2 definite Hall of Fame coaches going at it again. This one should be a good one as well. 10:21, they'll tip. Highlights of Notre Dame and Oklahoma on the basketball court, and some news about their football teams coming up as well on the Land Rover Halftime Report.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. Welcome back to the Land Rover Halftime Report.
College football playoff rankings, week 3. This literally released just minutes ago. Here are your top 6. Top 4 unchanged. Really top 5 with Iowa there and Oklahoma State at number 6. Some big games in the Big 12 this week, including Oklahoma. Again, not pictured on this graphic. They're number 7 in football, and they're number 8 in basketball. I wonder what they are in rugby. They got a good rugby team down there in Norman. Let's talk about basketball. Buddy Hield and the Sooners, good early season matchup against Memphis. Here's Dedrick Lawson with the drive to the basket. Memphis on top by a point, but Jordan Woodard finds Ryan Spangler. He was a heck of a high school quarterback, Spangler. Back and forth we go. Woodard was clutch, hits the 3. Oklahoma goes up by 4, and they would go on to win this one over Memphis. Milwaukee and Notre Dame. Milwaukee was game early. Austin Arians, he hits the 3. Milwaukee up 6. Second half, Irish take control. VJ Beacham, the steal and throws it down. Notre Dame up 12. Then Beacham can do it from inside and from beyond the arc. Hits the 3, extending the lead, and then for good measure, Zach August driving the lane and throwing it down. Notre Dame goes on to win handily. Fred VanVleet and Wichita State taking on Tulsa. Yes, Fred VanVleet is still at Wichita State. Second half, Tulsa up 2. Shaquille Harrison throws it down. Tulsa playing well. Up by 2, James Woodard gets the lay-in to go. Again, Pat Burt this time. Falls down, gets back up, hits the 3. Tulsa. Looks like they're going to upset Wichita State right now. So the early season upsets continue with Villanova and Daniel Oshefu become a victim, taking on Nebraska. Javon Fields right here making the Cornhuskers look like world beaters early, up 5. But Oshefu would make his presence known. That's a bomb from Chris Jenkins. Oshefu, textbook with the block out and the putback. Villanova up 13. Darrell Reynolds, get out of his way. 22-2 run to end the first half, so Villanova taking control. Sterling Gibbs and UConn taking on New Hampshire. Great first half for Gibbs. Drives, the nice little floater. UConn up 6. Then look at this crossover. Oh, then a step back. That's gorgeous. UConn up 9. Second half, there's a familiar name, Rodney Purvis. Driving and getting the putback to go. He finished with 20. UConn wins by 19.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. You're watching the Land Rover halftime report.
The fashionable one, Perry Ellis in Kansas. Looking to take on a Michigan State team here. They'll tip in about 11 minutes and 45 seconds over on ESPN. Unlike the first game of the Champions Classic, we'll see a lot of familiar faces in the Kansas-Michigan State game. A lot of players back for both those two clubs. Really bad day for the state of Alabama. First of all, Colorado had its way with Auburn. Coach Pearl's club now 1-1 on the year. And then Alabama, Dayton, the Flyers just rocked the Crimson Tide 80-48, the final in that game. University of Rhode Island supporting E.C. Matthews out for the season as they take on Valpo. Second half, Alec Peters with the clutch 3 for Valpo. They take a 6-point lead. Flor McGlynn's going to respond back for the Rams. Now just a 3-point lead for Valpo. McGlynn, chance to tie it here. What a great finish. He gets it back, and that's good if it goes. Just runs it around the rim and out. Valpo wins by 3 points. Melo Trimble. What a great shooting first half, but he hits this 3. He's got 7 at the break. Second half from College Park coming up.
You're watching ESPN's Tip-Off Marathon, presented by Constant Contact.
Maryland is celebrating its heritage, including the teams that beat Georgetown over the years. See our colleague Len Elmore over there on the left from the 70s on through the 2000s. Some of the guys getting a all-time Maryland picture there. Good to see my former Big East partner, Mr. Elmore. My Big Ten partner, Mr. Dockett. Good to be back with you.
Oh, man, it's great to have you.
We're looking forward to a terrific season, our Big Ten coverage, and we'll see Maryland a lot. And Dan, that first half, Maryland saw a lot of Georgetown and what this rivalry and a little bit of local knowledge can mean to spice up a game.
Mike, I thought that Georgetown came out obviously with a 9-0 run, but they came out with an energy that comes from losing a game that everybody feels like you shouldn't. They lost to Radford. Obviously, the message from JT3 got to his players, and man, they came out. They had a little lull, but give them credit. They fought right back, and have kept in this basketball game, tie game in Georgetown, I don't think it's going to go away.
Yeah, I mentioned Maryland, of course, first year in the Big Ten after their time in the ACC. Georgetown, long time in the Big East. We mentioned this is the inaugural Gavin tip-off games. The Big Ten's leader talks about Dave Gavin.
He was a basketball purist. He loved the game. My dad was a coach. I grew up with the game. And so, you know, I always viewed Dave as one of the special people, not only in this country, but globally, in terms of his care and concern for players and for coaches in the game.
No better reason to bring these two schools back together in basketball than in the name of Dave Gavitt. There are 8 inaugural Gavitt tip-off games between Big East and Big Ten teams going on. And this is something that's going to happen not just this year, 2015 through 2022. The first full week of the season, a great way to have a high-quality contest to start the year.
Mike, you know, we see so many different kinds of games this time of year. You know, you got the games going on ESPN on a neutral site. But what makes this spectacular is the crowd, the environment, and it's not a hatred, but it's a heated rival. You don't get that in a Maui or, you know, great games, right, but you don't get the same intensity as with a crowd like this.
And these Gavitt tip-off games we played on campus, you saw that stat reset for the first half. This is as even a game as you could possibly have. Trimble halfway down to start the second half. Back the other way, Bradley Hayes got the rebound. Devontae Smith-Rivera, scoreless in the first half of the opening loss to Radford, had 6 in the first half here tonight. Diamond Stone, the stud freshman for Maryland, gets the rebound. Deflected out of bounds by L.J. Peak. Some of the guys who started elsewhere ended up here in College Park. Had a good first half, Danny.
Yeah, Robert Carter has been so impressive, and this game is not close if not for Suleiman. On both ends, we see his assists, but man, he's been in passing lanes. He's given great energy.
Raymond didn't take the 3, comes in for the 2, and he got fouled. And we'll get a chance to get his first points of the night on the free throw line. The foul on Georgetown sophomore Isaac Copeland.
You know, Mike, over the course of the season, you and I talk about don't sulk when things don't go your way. Layman has missed badly, but he's also had a couple in and out. But man, as he played hard, he has rebounded, and instead of sulking, he's gotten more determined. So you say, his stats don't look good, but when you get more determined, you lift people up. When you sulk, you become a drag on everybody, and you have to have everybody rowing the same way in this game, both teams.
Jake Lehman, our ESPN group, did a ranking of the best players in the country. He was listed 29th on that list. First team all Big Ten in the preseason. Hayes putting on some moves. His hook shot is no good. Weak side board cleaned up by a good-looking freshman, Marcus Derrickson out of Bowie, Maryland.
He is a great-looking freshman.
Knocked a couple of 3s down in that first half.
You know, Hayes put pressure on the defense. He went to his off shoulder, which is his left shoulder. He's not used to it, but man.
Suleiman along with the shot at pinballs. There it is. Saved. Great hustle by Copeland for the Hoyas.
This might be the first game Diamond Stone's ever played in where the team that he's playing doesn't care that he's Diamond Stone. You know what I mean? They don't care.
Oh, sweet move by Hayes. He couldn't finish inside.
He's a step behind in this game physically.
Carter's not, and it's going to go the other way. The charge is drawn inside by Smith-Rivera, who was sitting on 2 fouls. And that is some toughness to take this big guy coming at you and step up outside the 4-foot arc and take the charge.
That was a great play by Smith-Rivera. And I know he charged, but that was a great move by Carter.
Oh, yeah.
He came down full speed, made a crossover. He just didn't get his body stopped quick enough to avoid the charge.
Some of those rule changes we've been pointing out. Inside Hayes, nice feed from the top by Copeland.
It'll be interesting to see how long Mark Turgeon sticks with Stone. He's not been effective at all on the offensive end, and they're going right at him defensively.
Hello, Trimble, the sophomore, he got pulled, and the foul is called on the drive.
Look, you see Stone right here. He's way too upright. You got to get down. You got to get spread out. When you're upright, you take bad steps. And when you take a misstep against a Georgetown team that is used to back cutting, you give up layups. All Stone's got to do is drop his rear end, get down in the stance, athletic position. He'll be fine.
As Trimble comes to the line, you're talking about Melo Trimble, the sophomore who was the star recruit Maryland was able to get before last season, had a great all-Big Ten conference year, and then Diamond Stone follows, and that's when you start to hit the magic. One big name comes, another big name comes. Now your program's got it, whatever it is, whatever the kids are into, and that's what Mark Turgeon is building here in College Park.
It's going to be interesting, I think, to see what Georgetown does and how Georgetown grows as well, because as we've mentioned, they've got a couple of really nice-looking kids. And Derrickson Peak is only a sophomore. Govan's a freshman.
It's a great game for their freshmen. An eye-opener, very tough spot to play. This is always a difficult building to come into. Difference right now at the free throw line. 8 more makes for Maryland. Georgetown's only been there twice. Good step by Smith Rivera. Able to knock it down and put Georgetown back on top.
And they are yapping. Suleiman and Smith Rivera are going at each other. Suleiman guarded him as well as he could be guarded. Smith Rivera has been making those kind of shots since he was at North Central High School.
Stone is challenged and met at the rim by Copeland. Exactly what you were talking about, Dan. Hoyas in transition. Nice feed, Smith Rivera. Hayes inside. Couldn't finish. Oh, what a flush by Copeland.
Oh, man. I mean, hey, Hayes is just going right at him, running the floor. Didn't get the make, but he created enough chaos that Copeland was able to finish. It's a great game.
It really is. Carter, feed inside. Lehman working down low.
That's what you got to do. He's got to see it go in at some point.
Carter wants to go to the basket. Stone crashed the glass, and he's going to be called for the foul. And Mark Turgeon just trying to tell his guys, don't get too uptight.
When big guys run the middle of the floor right there, you see they just draw people. And Copeland kept playing. Robert Carter, number 4 in the white there, stop. Look at Carter. He stops. You see Copeland go right by him. Telling you, big guys running the floor provide energy for your team.
Stone to the bench. That foul was his 3rd. He had 10.7 rebounds in the opening game. Victory over Mount St. Mary's that was a little tight in the first half, but became comfortable in the second half. Backdoor cut. No foul call. It should be foul on Lehman. That's a good job by Pat Driscoll. That's a good job.
Pat Driscoll had the same line of sight that you and I did, and he was waiting to see if the referee underneath the bucket called it. The ref was looking at something else. Driscoll made the right call. Pretty good pass, but right there he grabbed his arm.
He may have ended up getting the wrong guy because I thought Lehman was the one who fouled. Lehman the challenge here. The foul was not called on Lehman, it was called on Carter.
Like, whenever I hear challenge out of your mouth, I think a red flag is going to come down and there's going to be a 10-minute delay.
Please no. Please no.
Oh, nice.
Copeland inside. Hayes on the flush. Let's get Tchaikovsky back in here for Maryland. He gave him some good time. Right now, Dodd has come in. 35, DeMonte Dodd, the junior. 6-0 Hoya run. Georgetown leads by 6.
This is going to be interesting. Mike Nickens is coming in, and I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't come in for one of the bigs and Maryland decides to go a little small here. Could be wrong, but that would make a lot of sense right now.
It is 10-4 to start the half for Georgetown. They have the last half dozen working inside with Bradley Hayes. The Hoyas lead number 3. Taking pictures next to me with his iPad. This is one of the better timeouts in the country. The under 16, the first media timeout in the second half here in College Park. They unfurl the flag. Fans have a good time. Great atmosphere here in Maryland. The Big Ten, Jim Delaney, the commissioner. The Big East commissioner, Val Ackerman. And they are both here as they watch the two conferences go head-to-head in one of these 8 Gavitt tip-off games. Two people who've done so much for the sport and continue to do so. Right now it is Georgetown by 6.
Zone here, Mike, and in fact, Turgeon did go small. I think it's a really good move. He's not getting anything out of his big guys. I'm a little surprised he left Dodd in there and didn't bring in Checo.
Caleb Johnson picks up the foul for the Hoyas. As we went to break, the foul was on Smith Rivera. That is his third, so he plays with the 3. Team fouls are 4 for the Hoyas, 3 for the Terps. About 5 minutes in. Suleiman pitched it to the corner. Nickens couldn't get the 3 and stays down here.
It's a good move. You put your best shooter in the ball side corner. You screen the top of the zone, drive the gap, and you just got to knock in the shot. Maryland's 0 for 6 this half. That's some pretty good looks. You got to do the same thing or get the ball in the middle.
Trimble, Nickens, and Suleiman working on the perimeter. Carter and Dodd the bigs. Paint flash by Carter was well handled by the Hoyas. Clock at 10. Suleiman with penetration. And the rebound for Jesse Govan out of Queens Village, New York, freshman.
Bad offense by Maryland. Maryland is not prepared to play against the zone. They have opportunity to post the middle man. They have opportunity to play the baseline, but they're not.
Govan goes baseline, couldn't get to the other side, but got bailed out as Dodd hits him with the forearm. And the foul is called. The Champions Classic is going on over on ESPN. After that, you'll have Sports Center with John Anderson, John Butchergross, and then after that, Neil Everett and Nicole Briscoe. Sports Center. But the Sports Center that we should be promoting happens right here after the game. Scott Van Pelt, Stanford Steve sitting next to him. They will have Sports Center from here on ESPN2 right after the game. Wilbon's going to hang out. I think I've been told I have to hang out for a few minutes. But Scott, great day for my pal, who had a chance to get on campus and talk to the students, journalism students here at Maryland. He's such a proud alum. He got his large innovation as some of the legends who were introduced from the student section.
He did. I mean, people were just going nuts when Scotty was walking by.
So the SVP Sports Center comes up from here in College Park as soon as we're done. Don't ever tell him I said something nice about him, because he wasn't listening. 7-0 run for the Hoyas. They lead here by 7. They're taking some of the starch and enthusiasm out of this crowd. Welcoming Georgetown on campus here at College Park for the first time in 4 decades.
Look where the ball is. Look how far out it is.
Look at the shot clock.
You got one-on-one at minimum. That's what you do right there.
Lehman with a nice take, and the foul is called on the drive.
If they're not going to guard you, meaning if they're not going to double you, which means the zone is going to be spread out with shooters, and it should be because Trimble and Suleiman and Nickens can all shoot, then you have a one-on-one against a freshman. Now, Mike, that's a bad play, though, by Lehman. Lehman should have had a three-point play there.
That was Smith Rivera. I wasn't sure who got the foul, and it's his 4th. That's a huge point in this game. Devontae Smith Rivera, first-team All-Big East, senior out of Indianapolis, is the best player for the Hoyas, and he'll sit with 4.
And he's been the most dangerous player in this game at forcing the defense to collapse and help. He's been the one guy that has been able to put his head down and get into the defense. If Georgetown doesn't do that, they're going to go on like a 5-minute run here of no points.
Great read, Trimble, take away. Put it in.
Said in the first half, Mike can't play East and West. Got to play North and South against Maryland.
First field goal of the half. Fans back in it. Peak. Rebound inside. The foul call from the outside. They'll get Lehman on the hit.
2 rules of passing. Don't throw the basketball to your teammate. Throw it away from the defense. You see Trimble, the ball's just thrown to blue shirt to blue shirt. You got to throw it away from the defense. Trimble read it, got to lay it.
Foul on Lehman. Gets the team fouls to 5 each way. And LJ Peak to the line. Part of a very good sophomore class. John Thompson III telling us at shoot-around today that this is the important group. Peak, Copeland, Trey Campbell, who played a bit earlier. These sophomores are going to need to be a little more like upperclassmen, because there aren't upperclassmen other than Devontae Smith Rivera on the bench with 4 fouls.
And the truth is, that's not unfair in modern college basketball. Heck, everybody's young. I mean, this is a year of a senior, I know, but most teams are young anyway. See, nobody in the middle of the zone, Mike. Look how far out the ball is.
Trimble got it there himself and fouled by Govan. Hit hard on the drive. Can I ask you a question about the shot clock?
Yeah.
So that's like the big rule change. It's 35 to 30 on the shot. Do you think teams that change defense, that pick up 3/4, that play zone, can really take advantage of those 5 fewer seconds on the clock?
I think in theory, yes, but I think against good guards, no. I doing games last year in the NIT where we had a 30-second shot clock and talking to everybody from coaches to players that played, myself, referees, it really didn't have an effect. Now, the theory is good, obviously, but if you have guards like these guys have being Maryland, you should be able to handle this. I don't think the shot clock has bothered their zone offense. I think their zone offense has bothered their zone offense.
Is this your first game?
It is.
You're in mid-season form.
Thank you.
That's why I love you, pal. Good to be back with you. 3 on Govan. Trimble has 13.
Don't go side to side, Mike. You can't. Look, it's all side to side right here.
So Copeland put it on the deck. Look at Hayes. Squeeze it and score.
The reason you go at the bucket like Copeland did is you draw all that defense, and now you've got a guy like Hayes that can clean up the backside. So that's exactly why you have to drive the ball.
You said it before, Bradley Hayes did very little offensively. He's got 10 points in this game, 19 and 12 in the opener.
Mike, I'm a huge fan of Bradley Hayes.
There's Lehman with the punch to the foul.
This is that side ball screen, high ball screen, going left this time. You see the ball screen right there, and now here comes Trimble. He sits down, nice. This is really good. This is the only offense they really have, they being Maryland against the zone. And it worked that time.
Georgetown started to get in some foul trouble. Smith Rivera on the bench with 4. Govan with 3. Now Hayes with 3. Hayes almost picked up a 4 in the rebounding ruckus with Don. Georgetown opened 9-0. There was a series of runs in the first half. We ended all tied 33 at the break. 15-11 Hoyas in this second half. Spinning move by LJP. Couldn't get organized to get it off the glass, and Lehman with the board for Maryland. It's the number 3 team in the country coming off a second-place finish in the Big Ten behind national runner-up Wisconsin last year in the conference. Lehman flashed. Shot clock at 5. Lehman the reverse. Hayes feeling it.
Good for him.
Absolutely.
You know what? Hey, the kid scored 30 points in his career. John Thompson III told us, look, all he cares about is winning. All he cares about is being a good leader. Georgetown basketball. You get what you deserve, and that kid deserves to have a heck of a senior year, and I, for one, hope he does.
What'd you say he scored his career? 30? 30. He got 31 in the first 2 games.
How great is that?
Trimble, that's a nice take crossover inside. He got hit hard. If that is on Hayes, that is his 4th. We get a timeout. Things tightening, emotions boiling.
.10:52 to go here in College Park. Melo Trimble to the lineup. Scott Van Pelt. Right after this game is over, I'll be bringing you Sports Center from here. We will see if the Terps can come back. Georgetown's playing an inspired game after getting knocked off in that first one. Mike Tirico, we'll see if it's a party or if it's a somber Sports Center.
Absolutely. Did you bring your chair with your logo on it with you? Do you get the whole deal?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
Did you run out on the court?
On the floor.
Okay, good. We'll see you there. All right. Thanks, Scotty. Good to be in your old neck of the woods. Scott's famous line, everybody's from somewhere. This is part of his life. For all of us who enjoy college basketball, we are thrilled to get the season started and to see things like this. 2 rivals who have been close by and have not seen each other for a variety of reasons. This rivalry and the annual head-to-head has stopped. They've seen each other a couple of times in the NCAA tournament, a neutral site game. But it's the coaches, really. Turgeon and Thompson, who have been friends, Dan, who are the reason that these guys are back together and playing.
Yeah, and it was the reason that they didn't play going back a long, long time. And as we said at the top of the show, there's everybody's got their own side of it, But regardless, who cares? These two guys are friends. The game is on, and it's a ton of fun.
And they're going to play next year, whether it's a Gavitt tip-off game or not, and that will be at Georgetown. Copeland 3. That is off, rebound, good, strong go up and get it for Derrickson to reset. And he'll launch. I like this kid. Marcus Derrickson, the freshman.
What's not to like? He is just lifting up on the road and putting it right in Maryland's eye.
Real away, Jared Nickens is off. Carter got boxed out, but he was being held by Derrickson, and the foul is called on Georgetown.
Hey, this is pretty good. Derrickson just pops out. Carter kind of forgot the scouting report because this kid can shoot the basketball. Derrickson is known as a shooter first, everything else second. Carter forgot, and they paid.
Already 9 team fouls on Georgetown, 5 on Maryland, with half of the half to still go. Carter missing that front end.
It's a confident-looking group out here right now from Georgetown.
Tchaikovsky back in there, the 7-footer. He battles with Hayes. They let Hayes go. Tchaikovsky strips it away. Good spin by Suleiman to push. Layman finds Nickens.
That was fantastic defense, Mike.
Layman hit the 3. The recovery defense by Georgetown.
Really good, but better offense, as Mark Jackson says. Great defense, but better offense. They kept the ball moving. Got to look.
Derrickson going down low. Going to work on a big fella, Carter. Too much. Fight for the board. Last touch by Georgetown as Caleb Johnson was out of bounds.
Maryland's picked it up a little bit here, and this kid's been a difference. He did not let Hayes, Tchaikovsky did not let Hayes go to his left shoulder, and now after fantastic ball movement, but Georgetown played terrific defense. Maryland offense is too good, and again, they kept the ball moving side to side. I can't say enough about Layman, how he stuck with this game through some hard times early.
Ryan Williams to the bench for Georgetown. LJ Peak back in, 9 minutes to go. Trimble, triple. Strong rebound, Derrickson. Good when you roll in there freshman year looking like that. That body, that shot. Hayes, oh my! Beautiful, the drop coming left for 2.
He has not shot but one shot going to his right shoulder. Everything has been in the lane, left shoulder. It was played well by our guy Checo, but Hayes reacted. That's a great move.
Who's going to give Checo the bad news that we've adopted him already, huh? It's going to be a long year for the kid. Carter, Derrickson, verticality, kept his space. The 3, Nickens, rattles it home. 1-point game. Hayes, oh, the cut. Foul call. As Peak went up for the dunk, they say Layman got him, and they couldn't hear the whistle on this end as bodies are flying. It is game 2. You think this doesn't mean anything? When it's in your backyard, you got to look at them all year. It matters if you win or not.
In our college basketball studios in Bristol, Champions Classic Game 2 over on ESPN. That nice little step back there by Wayne Selden Jr. buries the bucket. Kansas up by 4 right now. Villanova just beating Nebraska. This one just going final. Josh Hart, 19 points. Daniel Oshefu added 17. Back to Mike and Dan in College Park, guys.
All right, Chris, thank you. That's also one of the Gavitt tip-off games, Big East against Big Ten. You alluded to Kansas in action over on ESPN. 11 consecutive conference titles. They go for 12 to get within one of that Wooden and Company run at UCLA. 11's pretty awesome. Kansas just finds a way, year in, year out. Of course, Mark Turgeon, very familiar with the pedigree in Lawrence. Back to his Kansas days.
You know, all these guys in college basketball, they get in the Naismith Hall of Fame. You got to take a look at Bill Self, don't you? I mean, Devin Straight, when he's up there with John Wooden's UCLA teams, it's pretty good company.
Of course, these schools have had legendary coaches. Lefty Drizel, who I know is watching, Gary Williams, John Thompson, who's watching his son's team in action tonight. As you come the other way, Georgetown will be called for the foul. Watch out if it's Hayes. That would be his fourth. The guy was giving them great offense inside. I believe it is. So it might be Hayes and Smith Rivera with 4. Pelicans, Thunder, Bulls, Suns. Your NBA doubleheader tomorrow on ESPN. It begins with countdown at 7:30 Eastern Time.
Are you doing both games?
I am not. I am not.
Okay.
My daughter has a basketball game tomorrow. I will not be broadcasting.
Will you be doing that game?
Struggle for Maryland at the free throw line here tonight. They have missed 7. And Dan, it's going to be an interesting stretch of the game. We're at 7:45. And Smith, Rivera, and Hayes, the two best offensive things Georgetown is going, are both over there with Coach Thompson, 4 fouls.
Yeah, Peak needs to step it up right here. Peak needs to, wow.
Trimble 7 of 12 at the line. He's missed 5 free throws.
He doesn't miss 5 in a month usually.
86% free throw shooter. He led the Big Ten last year. So didn't have to go. There's Peak. The man talked about beating Tchaikovsky but couldn't finish. Every board's a scrap. It comes to the waiting hands of Isaac Copeland.
Our guy again, Mike Derrickson, who's hit threes, was in there just out toughing much bigger Maryland players. Now it's a 17-0 lead on second chance points for Georgetown.
Good recovery. Trimble on the drive. This is going to be blocking foul call. No, it's a charge. I think I got a charge to the outside. I was looking underneath and saw the outside. The correct call. The charge was taken in there.
Derrickson. What a game this freshman is taking. That's just being alert. I'm not sure it's a great call, but he was outside the box, probably still moving sideways. Hey, when you're playing as hard as Derrickson is, you get some calls. Just do.
Mark Turgeon very unhappy. It's a veteran official, Pat Driscoll, just telling him don't do that. You see Nickens nicked up, favoring that shoulder. So Jared, the sophomore from Monmouth Junction, New Jersey, comes to the sideline. Backcourt as Richie Cameron comes in to get it, having to go deeper in the bench are the Hoyas here. His 3 is off, rebound, go up and get it again. Lehman the foul. Second chance points being caused by the great effort from the Hoyas. Now Maryland's frustrated that they're not getting more calls. Georgetown's dictating tempo here.
Mike, you mentioned it a few seconds ago, veteran officiating crew. Veteran official just let Copeland make a completely legal play. He got a running start. He went up. He went over the back of Suleiman, but he didn't foul Suleiman. There's a big difference. Younger guy might have called it, particularly on the road or at home for Maryland. Great non-call and fantastic hustle by a tough Georgetown team.
So Lehman has 4. He goes to the bench. Diamond Stone, the freshman, comes in as well as Tchaikovsky sits down. A little remembrance of the physicality of this night. The free throw is missed by Peak. Georgetown leading by 5. It's still a lot of time to go. 6.5 remaining in regulation. Suleiman waits for Nickens, who came right back in. Diamond Stone just off the bench is short. Carter, he's hustling to keep it alive, but he was out of bounds when he hit it the second time. And Turgeon's looking at the rookie, the freshman, I should say, just telling him not that shot, not this time.
Yeah, but I got to credit Govan from Georgetown. I happened to be watching those two the entire possession. Diamond Stone was trying to post him in the lane, and Govan was not having any of it and pushed Stone off the block. Turgeon wanted him to drive, but I don't think Diamond Stone wants much to do with Govan right now.
The tight defense on Derrickson from Maryland's Carter. Half the shot clock gone. We're under 6 minutes now. Copeland, shots for 2. Wow.
Your timeout if you're Turgeon. This has turned into a complaining game as opposed to an enthusiastic game from a Maryland side. He's got to get it organized because his players are involved in it.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Constant Contact, with the email marketing to help your small business do more business. And Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends. Please enjoy Dos Equis responsibly.
Xfinity Center, now the home of Maryland basketball. Used to be Cole Fieldhouse, and back in the day, they always had those great pictures of the captains, the seniors, along with the head coach. Lefty Drizel had the best of Maryland over there in 73 and 74. So in honor of the last time Georgetown came to this campus to play, which was that year, found some plaid, found a little great three-piece for Coach Turgeon, and Jake Lehman and the others, including Melo Trimble of this era, matched the look in that same spot on campus. It's a little turn back the clock here, and you can get the sense, Dan, of what this rivalry, although it's not often played, means because of the intensity that we've seen in this game.
This has been, people talk about NCAA tournament intense. Sometimes the NCAA tournament isn't that intense early because of the crowd. This thing's as intense as any game you'll see all year long.
It feels like a February conference game. Oh, beautiful spin. Inside, Carter couldn't finish at the rim. I think he was either fouled or the ball was hit somewhere up top. In any case, comes back the other way with the Hoyas. Carter and Suleiman, we showed you the transfers who have 17 points in the game. They all came in the first half. Going to go the other way. An illegal screen called on Govan of the Hoyas. We mentioned Georgetown back in action on Friday. You'll see them on ESPN2 against Wisconsin. And then Duke and VCU. That's at Madison Square Garden in New York, the 2K Classic. And if Wisconsin and Duke win, it'll be a rematch of last year's title game on Sunday. Govan picked up the foul. That is his 4th. We've got a coach in the student section who wants Carter to post up. Instead, Trimble on the drive, lost the handle. Out off Georgetown, 18 to shoot.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
Well, give the spare headset.
Yeah.
Bring him down. Come on. Yeah. 3 in the booth.
Yeah, he was right. Go right at him. He went right past his man. Now, the second guy was a problem.
Maryland has the score.
They'll switch to zone. They're going to give up a 3.
Out of the corner, Lehman almost had it. They close out on him. They doubled there. It's deep. It's Trimble off the mark. And the rebound from Georgetown's Caleb Johnson.
When you play against the zone, you're on top. You pass, you step into the zone. Trimble stepped back. Had he stepped into the zone, he would have had a shooter wide open in the right-hand corner. Nickens.
Derrickson probing. Trimble knocks it away. Lehman thought about the 3, put it on the deck, gets inside. The hand check on the outside will stop it. The Georgetown foul.
Georgetown foul on Marcus Derrickson.
Pete Derrickson. So now he has 3.
You're in the 2 free throw, 10 foul range. So, like I said, that kid wasn't wrong and Lehman wasn't wrong. Just taking it right at him and putting Georgetown in a position to foul. You got to give JT3, John Thompson III, unbelievable credit. They looked awful against a Radford team who's supposed to be all right, 4th in the Big South. But what a difference. The kids listen to them. They didn't sulk. They've come out here and they've taken it from the start, Mike, right at Maryland and right at this crowd.
5-point game. LJ Peak comes in. Devontae Smith-Rivera plays with 4. Lehman goes back to the bench in the same mode. 4 fouls. Smith-Rivera, the fake, the drive, contact, no call, and a leak out for Trimble the other way. Govan has 4. Trimble is fouled. And I believe that should be Govan and his 5th. Let's make sure Melo's okay.
I think John Thompson has a legitimate gripe here.
As he comes down, he ends up with his head hitting the knee of the photographer sitting along the baseline. Govan has fouled out. That was his 5th.
You know, this was clearly a foul on Trimble, no question about it. Guy hands were reached in, Govan reached his hands in and committed a foul. But man, there was contact down on the other end when Smith Rivera went to the basket. And I don't blame John Thompson for at least pointing it out to everybody vehemently.
With a struggle at the line, he's missed 5.
That means he's got about a 30 for 30 streak coming through. Yeah, he does. He's that kind of shooter.
Freshman Govan is done. Trimble's got both. 3-point game.
Love this crowd. Best crowd in the Big Ten, in my opinion.
Push Carter. Push Hayes. Wouldn't allow him to clean catch. 8 fouls on Maryland, so we go for the 1-1. At the line with Hayes, who has not been there very much in his career.
Not a terrible foul. Well, Hayes has a decent-looking stroke, but really doesn't have any numbers to speak of. 5 for 9 in the first game.
1-1, just his 25th college free throw. The senior missed it. Maryland can tie with a 3. Trimble takes it, makes it. New game at 61. They want to look at that and make sure that it is a 3.
Man, if you're Maryland, you don't want anybody looking at anything.
Not right now. You want to keep rolling. It is a 7-0 run for the Hoyas, and that's very clean. That is a 3 for Trimble. Our game will be tied at 61 with 3:55 on the clock. We mentioned a lot of Maryland's former greats. Gravis Vasquez, who's had a time in the NBA, guy who played in this building, greeting some folks as well. All the Maryland folks happy in that timeout. A 7-0 run in the last 33 seconds. That 3 was confirmed. Our game is tied at 61.
I thought that was the rapper Drake. I did. I thought it was Drake. You know, he's done cheering for Kentucky, so he came over here.
Hayes with the 4. Turnaround hook.
Man.
For Hayes is good.
Go to the senior. Go to the guy that cares about winning the most in crunch time, and he delivered off his left shoulder. You can't let him go to that left shoulder.
19 in game 1, 16 in game 2. Suleiman.
You got to drive it here.
It's the right guy to have it with his hands on the wheel. Trimble, the 5. Nickens, the fake, almost traveled. Hits the floater, tied at 63.
I thought Nickens had Carter in the corner, but a pretty good decision. Good offense by Maryland there. Kept the ball moving.
Smith Rivera, he's the go-to guy for the Hoyas, but Suleiman put him in the vice. It's knocked away. Suleiman takes it away, and it goes out of bounds off Suleiman. And Georgetown ball. Shot clock's going to stay at 15. No possession was gained by Maryland in that exchange. Lehman, the 4 fouls back in for Maryland. Dodd will sit.
What a great matchup. Suleiman defending against Smith Rivera, particularly with Smith Rivera on the right side of the court going to his strong hand. Here it is, late clock. Nope.
Well covered, wouldn't let him turn the corner. It's late shot clock. It's got to be Smith Rivera here on the spin. Blocked by Lehman. Shot clock violation. The players keep going. They can't hear the whistle. deafening in here.
Oh, man. Best crowd in the Big Ten, Mike. Got to be top 2 or 3 in the country. Got to be.
We're just challenging everybody for our
Absolutely.
Tuesdays.
But you're going to have to bring it if you're going to match what's going on here. This is so much fun.
We'll be checking it out. Scott Johnson, our director, Bart Fox, our producer, Allison Williams will join us for our Super Tuesdays in the Big Ten. Lehman, 4-3, and the lead! Smith Rivera wants to tie it. And he does! Timeout taken by Georgetown.
It is so tough to guard the high flare against Georgetown. And Smith Rivera just read the defense. The defender went under the screen. He popped back, and wow!
There you back-to-back triples.
Watch this pass. Is this any good? Just fire it across to a guy who struggled all night but has stayed with the game. Good for Lehman. And then on the other end, watch right here. It goes underneath the screen, Suleiman. Underneath 2 guys. You go underneath 2 guys, you give too much room. By 2 guys, I mean you're going under your screener and then the defender. And that's too many, Mike. And Smith Rivera doing what guys do that are all league.
Sitting here as we're doing this game, it's only game 2. Is this game really going to matter much? Well, if Georgetown wins, yes. But for resumes and all that stuff, there's a ton more to go on. And you're thinking, don't get too into this, but these guys are into it, the players are into it. It's so great to see what local dislike can do, can raise the level of all involved.
These guys behind us, reason I'm telling them to cheer, that's what college basketball is about to me.
That's right.
And they've been here for an hour and a half, 85 minutes on the game clock. These guys were here going crazy.
Final minute 50 of this one. Carter, tough shot.
Oh, wow. That time, Georgetown made the adjustment, Mike. They stayed with shooters. They were not going to go double. They weren't going to give up a 3, and Carter made a heck of a play.
Hayes and Smith Rivera have done the work. Derrickson, not afraid, and will come to the free throw line. Foul on Carter, who scored the go-ahead.
You see, nobody comes now. They stay with Lehman. They fake a little bit, but they're staying with Lehman. Nobody's coming. It's isolated. Carter just better offense against pretty daggone good defense. This is fun.
Marcus Derrickson knows all about the intensity of basketball in this area. Smoothly knocks it down. 2 Washington Catholic athletic titles along the way. Hit all 4 of his free throws in the first game. His first 2 tonight. And he nailed them like he's been doing it for years, tied at 68.
You saw Smith Rivera out. He's going offense, defense, John Thompson is, to keep him out of a foul situation down here.
Each team with 2 timeouts left. Hello, Trimble wants it to the left. Lehman in the corner. Rotation. Suleiman. Yes! A 3! No Smith Rivera on the floor here. And Thompson's got to tell his players to get the timeout call, because you can't call a timeout over there from the coaching staff with the rule change, and it took 4 extra seconds. Timeout, Georgetown.
Well, you called that exactly right, Mike. He couldn't hear. He couldn't get to his own player right in front of him.
The 3 to go ahead, knocked down by Rashid Suleiman. Talented in his early start at Duke, but then dismissed from the team. Here's what we're talking about.
He's asking for a timeout, and he originally goes to the ref, and you see underneath, I think that's Pat Driscoll. Hey, I can't do it. So finally, he gets to Copeland. You see the head turn right there, and they get their timeout.
Just again, Rule 514.1 changed this year. Coaches not permitted to request a timeout when the ball is live. So in these situations, players are going to have to be very aware. And unfortunately, in most cases in college basketball, you're down on your offensive end late in the game in front of your bench. You can get one of your guys to get their attention.
Yeah, in an atmosphere like this we saw, that's not the easiest thing to do. Georgetown, it's going to be interesting. You have basically one senior, two seniors, Hayes and Smith Rivera. You can't get nervous here. You can't take a bad shot. You've got to get something going to the rim and either put it on the backboard and rebound it or find the next. You just can't get stagnant. Pressure makes kids stagnant. You can't have it here. You got to keep your movement.
Know what else you can't do? You can't go offense, defense anymore with Smith Rivera.
No.
You got hurt here on this end.
Yeah.
He's got to play with four. If you have to take him off a Trimble, you got to figure that out.
You got a minute, you put him on Nickens, and you figure it out. Exactly. You put him on a shooter.
Georgetown down 3. LJ Peak couldn't turn the corner. Shot clock is at 8. Isaac Copeland to Smith Rivera, who's got some space. Went to Hayes inside. Late clock. Hayes. No. Rebound Dodd for Maryland. Clock at 15. Now again, Turgeon had to tell Suleiman to tell the official timeout. It's going to be an adjustment period, especially these first few months of the season. Full timeout for Maryland.
I thought Georgetown got a good shot. I mean, it was a little bit forced, but look, Hayes has done his job. He's gotten the ball into the basket, particularly late here in the second half. Now you're going to see, I got to believe, about 6 seconds, 7 seconds, high ball screen, and Trimble's going to go downhill towards the bucket, either get fouled or find the next guy.
There's so many people locally, I'm sure, are watching this one, but for those who are not as familiar with the geography, I guess if you have your own personal drone, that would be more relevant in this generation than with the crow flies. There's your short distance from the hilltop, the Georgetown campus over here to College Park. And Dan, both coaches talking about the very fertile and talented high school recruiting that you have here. Tremendous coaching over the years in the high schools, great players. Many of these guys see each other in their summer league action as well. That kind of adds to it. The Kenner League over at McDonough, the gym on the campus at Georgetown, part of when their paths will cross during the summer as well.
Yeah, great AAU programs, fantastic. You know, and I think it's led over the years, going way back, Morgan Wooten at DeMatha kind of led it. And Bob Wade was fantastic at Dunbar for years. Just a ton. Mike Jones now at DeMatha. Just a ton of high school coaches. I know Morgan Wooten's son is coaching. Just so many fantastic programs, AAU programs in this area. That's going to make Maryland strong for a long time and should be strong.
13 on the shot clock. Inbounded to Trimble, working on Peak. Clock at 5. It will be Trimble on the drive. Mellow Trimble. No rebound, chase down. Trimble, did he go out of bounds or a foul? He's fouled as he heads out of bounds. And I believe it might be, I think it's Smith Rivera. We'll see. On the push. It is, and that's his fifth.
You can't guard this any better than it was guarded. You just can't. Well, that shouldn't be on Smith Rivera. That's
Dickerson. It is Dickerson.
Yeah. You just can't guard any better. You got the best player, maybe.
Derrickson.
Yeah, Derrickson. Maybe the best player in the country at going downhill and drawing a foul. In this kid here, Trimble. They guarded it, made him pull it back, just didn't come up with a loose ball, and he is not missing these, Mike.
Up 4 with 12.3 to go. Georgetown brings in Reggie Cameron. This is the largest Maryland lead of the night. Maryland goes a little more perimeter oriented to switch. Thinking Georgetown will look for threes. The lead is 5.
You got to go to the bucket hard here. Either kick it or score it.
Smith Rivera got to go something. A 3 keeps it alive with 4.5 to go. And the Hoyas take the timeout. 73-71.
It'll just make you put back things you never stole as a coach, Mike. You don't want to give up a 3 there. So you go underneath the ball screen. You just go over the ball screen, make him turn the corner, uses more clock. Suleiman goes underneath. Now they switch, and you don't switch up, you switch back. I'm telling you, it's why coaches take Prozac. Lexapro, whatever.
Now, those of you watching Kansas and Michigan State at the half with Kansas up by 6, glad you're here with us in College Park, Maryland. This has been a terrific game. Forget for the second game of the season. This has just been a great game whenever it was played. Georgetown jumped out 9-0. They had all the edges in terms of hustling, getting rebounds, second chance opportunities. And the irony of it all is after a miss here just a moment ago, Georgetown had a chance to get a rebound. Maryland got the second chance opportunity, hit the 2 free throws. We're showing this replay so the officials can see when the ball went through the bottom of the net. That's the time that should be left on the clock.
You know, I mentioned the switch, and this is going to be a thing in college basketball. Big time thing in college basketball. Bigs guarding littler guys. And off a ball screen, Dodd there had to really move up. And had he done that, probably would have been a 3-point game with 1 second to go, as opposed to this here, where if you make a turnover, it's going to be a tie game.
0.2 of a second added. Mark Turgeon just told Mike Roberts, watch the hold as we try to get somebody free here. Inbounds by Lehman in the backcourt. Gets it to Trimble, who is quickly fouled. Melo Trimble struggled at the free throw line. For those of you just joining us, he was the best free throw shooter in the Big Ten last year, 86%. And the first team all Big Ten performer with 2 will probably put this one out of reach for the Hoyas.
Melo Trimble shooting 2.
Georgetown out of timeout, so John Thompson had to cover everything in that last huddle.
Yeah, that's the first one he's made clean. He makes or makes, I get that. But you just know after 5 misses early, he's got a stretch coming. 16 right now in the second half, going to make it 17 here.
There are the 2. Hoyas out of timeouts, 3.9 seconds remaining. It'll be Smith Rivera. They stay away. He hoists the 3. It is off, and Maryland wins the renewal of a local rivalry. And for those coaches, for these programs, and for the fans of college basketball, let's hope we see more Maryland against Georgetown.
And you can go all year long and not see a more intense game than this, or a better game. This was fantastic basketball. 2 great coaches, 2 fantastic programs. Great way to start college basketball with you, my friend.
Same here, pal. Georgetown will grow from this. They played very well. With Dan Dockich, Mike Tirico, so long. Scott Van Pelt with SportsCenter from his old stomping grounds in College Park, set to start now.